In 1993, inside a late-night Denny's restaurant near San Jose, three friends, Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowski, and Curtis Priam, sat at a small table. Cheap coffee, paper sketches, big dreams. They weren't just talking, they were imagining the future of computing. And that's where NVIDIA was born. But the spark ignited even earlier, in the dim glow of that same Denny's in late 1992, where Huang, a Taiwanese-American whiz who'd risen from washing dishes and cleaning toilets at 15 to designing chips at AMD, teamed up with Malachowski, a frustrated Sun Microsystems vet, and Priam, a graphics guru from IBM. Frustrated by corporate red tape, they quit their jobs in sync, with Priam jumping first on New Year's Eve to force the hand. With just $40,000 in the bank and sketches in a Fremont townhouse, they launched on Huang's 30th birthday, naming it NVIDIA, from the Latin invidia for envy, because they aimed to make rivals breen with it. Huang, a table tennis prodigy who'd once dreamed of going pro, traded paddles for processors, betting on video games as the gateway to massive computing power. Soon after, in a tiny office in East San Jose, barely larger than a garage, just 15 engineers worked day and night. Cardboard boxes became desks, wires, oscilloscopes, chip diagrams covered the room. And Jensen, the CEO, wasn't in a corner office. He was on the floor, soldering iron in hand, sweating over circuit boards with his team. Their first chip, NV1. A bold bet on quadrilateral primitives and forward texture mapping, it promised to redefine graphics. But then, bam, Microsoft's Direct3D API hit, mandating triangles only. Overnight, NV1 was obsolete. Investors pulled back. The boardroom was silent. And Jensen said quietly, "We have just 30 days of cash left." Then a lifeline, Sega. They poured a year into designing for the Dreamcast, only for Sega to bail and switch vendors. But in a heart-pounding twist, Sega's president flew in personally, rejected the chip, yet handed over $5 million just to keep NVIDIA alive. Huang called it 6 months to live, a mercy kill turned resurrection. But even that couldn't stop the storm. From 100 employees down to 40 in a brutal 1996 purge, 60% gone in the blink of an eye. Empty desks, quiet offices, whispers of failure echoing through the halls. Yet, amid the wreckage, hope flickered like a faulty circuit refusing to die. Their last shot, RIVA 128. Engineers worked day and night, whiteboards filled with designs, pizza boxes, coffee mugs, burning microchips. The pressure? Brutal. The result? Magic. In just 4 months, 1 million units sold. NVIDIA had found its heartbeat. This wasn't just a chip, it was a thunderclap, outselling rivals and proving triangles were the future. From the ashes, they roared back, snagging credibility and developers in a market where only NVIDIA and ATI survived the 90s graphics bloodbath. The ticker flashes, NVDA on NASDAQ. January 22, 1999, IPO day, shares surged 64% in a frenzy, turning Sega's lifeline into a $15 million windfall for them. GeForce 256 launches, the world's first GPU. Clocking 120 MHz with 4-pixel pipelines, it introduced hardware transform and lighting, blasting past competitors and igniting photorealistic gaming. A $200 million Microsoft Xbox deal followed, but it diverted the team, yet NVIDIA absorbed it like fuel for the fire. Then the conquests piled up. In 2000, they crushed rival 3DX into bankruptcy and scooped up its assets for $112 million, devouring the pioneers of 3D tech. But storms returned in 2008. Faulty mobile chips sparked abnormal failure rates, slamming laptops from Apple, Dell, HP. A $200 million write-down, lawsuits flying, NVIDIA settled in 2010, fixing and refunding like warriors owning their scars. CUDA arrives, a billion-dollar gamble on software, unlocking GPUs for parallel computing beyond games. Universities, researchers, scientists, all running machine learning models, the graphics card had become the backbone of discovery. Tegra chips invaded mobiles in 2008, powering quad-core beasts. Shield gadgets turned Android into handheld gaming empires. And after 2020, NVIDIA GPUs became the oxygen for AI. Data centers, robots, even ChatGPT, all powered by NVIDIA. On stage, Jensen, in his black leather jacket, holding up a GPU like the future itself. The company's value soared into trillions, owning more than 90% of the AI chip market. The 2020 Ampere A100 revolutionized data centers. By 2023, Hopper H100s had titans like Larry Ellison and Elon Musk begging Huang over sushi for supply. Acquisitions fueled the blaze. Mellanox for $6.9 billion in 2019, supercharging networks, Cumulus in 2020, even a $40 billion ARM bid in 2020 that regulators torpedoed in 2022. An epic swing and miss that only sharpened their edge. Controversies? Oh, they added spice. The 2015 GTX 970 VRM scandal, 3.5G effective, not 4, sparked refunds and a $5.5 million SEC crypto fine in 2022. Cyber attacks in 2022 exposed flaws. US-China bans forced workaround chips like H20, only for China to halt buys in 2025 over spies fears. Yet NVIDIA surged, $1 trillion in 2023, $2 trillion in 180 blistering days of 2024, $3.3 trillion in June, and a mind-blowing $4 trillion close on July 10, 2025, eclipsing the UK's entire market. A $600 billion one-day plunge in January 2025 from a Chinese AI rival? Just a plot twist. They bounced back harder. Today, NVIDIA isn't just a stock ticker flashing on NASDAQ, S&P 500, or Dow Jones. It's something bigger. Investors don't just see NVIDIA, they see the future. From a cheap cup of coffee at Denny's, now immortalized with a plaque in 2023, to a $4 trillion empire powering supercomputers, self-driving cars, and humanoid robots with Isaac Grote. This is the story of a company that turned failure into shortcuts, of near-death pivots, begged for chips, and trillion-dollar leaps, of an engineer CEO who